Hello people, welcome back to my channel. So hope you are enjoying the Python skill series so far. In the previous videos we saw what are the different syntaxes and semantics which are followed in Python programming language, and we also saw the database connectivity of Python with MySQL, and also we did some of the data handling operations with CSV file, because that is the important thing when you want to deal with certain data science projects. Okay, just to bring into your attention, so first when we did about the some of the introduction parts, and also linear regression, logistic regression, and even with the deep neural networks, we basically used the Google Colab platform for our coding purpose. Then next, as and when we moved on to the database programming and connectivity with MySQL, we use the Python shell, that is the IDE. And today we'll be using, or I'll be introducing new software or editor basically, where you can write your Python programming. So that is called as PyCharm. So it is provided by JetBrains, that is another corporation. So basically it is good to have a hands-on on different platforms where you can write this Python coding, because it's versatile and it will make you flexible. Also you can add to your resume, like on which frameworks, not on frameworks, but in fact on which editors you have worked with, whether it's Jupyter Notebook or Google Colab or Python Shell, or even with PyCharm. Then there are other platforms or other editors like Sublime Text, then Visual Studio Code. Places are there where you do different types of programming languages for cross-platform compatibility and for doing many other activities. So I'll be introducing you different types of other editors as well, where you can do the Python programming, so that you are aware about the different platforms where you can write the actual Python code and not just one editor, because some places where you go, there you don't have internet connection. So in that case, uh, you cannot use your Jupyter Notebook because it runs on localhost, and obviously you cannot use Google Colab because these two things require internet connection. So what is the alternative? So alternative is to use the Python shell, ideally shell, or you can use the PyCharm. So these are the available alternatives. You should also explore other alternatives we'll be seeing whenever we cover any new topics. Okay, so today's discussion will be all about something called as decorators. So decorators are essential whenever you do object-oriented programming. So forth, some of the videos I'll be making on object-oriented programming, because that is the most essential concepts whenever we deal with any data science projects. And also whenever you learn any programming language, it's good to have any object-oriented programming language, because if you know, that is C language. C was basically procedural oriented language. Uh, it was basically like you created some modules and like predefined codes was there, and so it was sort of difficult. Means you can't consider each and everything as objects. But as and when Java came, everything became objects. So class is an object, variables is an object, method is an object, and so many other things. So uh, that gave more flexibility to object-oriented programming. And so since Python has a variety of other applications, as we are seeing what are the different applications or areas we can do Python programming. So with Python also there is an object-oriented extension. If you know this OOPS concept, like polymorphism, encapsulation, abstraction, things like that. So those things are present in Python also. So that discussion we'll do in separate video, but today's video focus is mainly on the decorators. Decorators are especially used to decorate functions. From the name itself, it is used to decorate functions. Decorate functions means to add more detail or to add more functionality to a particular function. A normal function will do any base activity that is it is designed to do, but apart from that, if you want to provide any, or if you want that particular function to do any explicit activity, or if you want to decorate anything or to provide an extensibility, you basically go for decorators. So now from these videos, after few video series of oops concept, some video in some part will be building an application that will be based on Flask. Now if you are hearing this for the first time, Flask is nothing but a web framework which can be built using Python, and it is mainly used for web development. So basically there you can use the Python programming language. So especially in that area, whenever you do the coding, you need to use decorators in certain places. So just for that, I'm giving an introduction to decorators in this particular video, where and how it is actually used. Okay, so what is our problem statement is like, we want to get the marks of some students, not students in fact, marks of certain subjects, 5 subjects, marks in 5 subjects. We want to get that, and based upon that we want to decide upon a threshold, like whether that student, based upon the result, that student is passed or failed. And then in addition to that, if the result is passed, then we'll decorate it. Decorate it means we'll add more extensions, like we'll print if that student has got any distinction, that is again based on a threshold, and then we'll also calculate the percentage. So let's get started of how this particular coding looks like. Okay, so since you know we can define functions in Python, and we have seen the syntax of writing functions in Python. So that is the same thing here, not new. That is, we use the keyword that is def, define, and this is the name of the function, that is I want to calculate the result, whether it's pass or failed. So in that I'm passing a variable that is marks. So this particular function takes some input, so that is as a result of marks. And when I just hover this, you can see there is an underline that is popped up. So these are the things like PyCharm gives you. So it's an interactive shell. So if there are some errors in your code, so it will basically auto populate, like how you do in Eclipse IDE. Similar kind of thing is there here. So you can just do the formatting. If the code is not well formatted, it basically helps you with that. But with ideally and Google Colab, you don't get that kind of facility. So this is a feature that PyCharm allows you to do. Okay, so inside this function, uh, what I write is I have some lines of code. So before that, we want to get the marks in some variable. So we basically go with the list data structure. So in list, we basically use the list comprehension. So in the last video also, we talked about the list data structure, why it is used as opposed to tuple, set, or dictionary. And we are basically using this kind of syntax here. So this might be new to you. This basically takes input from the user, and basically eval is a function that will evaluate what type of input you are entering. So it has the automatic intelligence or ability to determine which is the underlying data type, whether it's an integer, float, string, boolean, or any other, or even complex numbers. So eval function will evaluate each particular input. So x represents one input, so this is the resultant that we get. And for x in input, so we'll basically take the input from the user, and it will ask to enter marks in 5 subjects. and then we are using a split function. It will basically split with the help of commas. So whenever it asks to enter the results, so user will basically enter the result in comma separated. So for that, basically you have to use the split method. Now first of all, I will not be running this in this particular uh, after every discussion I will not be running. Why? Because basically whenever you do certain or whenever you go for any programming interviews or somewhere else, basically in some places in technical interviews they ask you to write the code. So there you, at some places there you don't get the uh, provision of writing on a laptop or any other system, but then you have to write in with a pen and paper. So you should have the ability to just look at the line of code and to understand what is it happening. So you have to build that thought process. So I'm basically trying to uh, make you understand how these things actually work. So as and when, so first input goes here, so user will enter the input in particular comma separated values. It will all be integers, obviously result can't be any other data type, and it will all be split by commas, and eval function will evaluate whether it's an integer or any other. In this case it will be only integer, and it will be stored in marks. So we'll basically print the marks, and we get the list of marks in 5 subjects. Now we want to calculate the result based upon these marks, and so we are passing that to a function that is a result. This is the basic syntax of defining a result, and inside that what we'll do is, for each value in marks, so say he has entered the first mark as 50. So 50 will go inside this. So for each value of marks, so I'm setting a threshold, like if the marks is greater than or equal to 32, so that threshold you can keep depending upon how you want to filter that. uh, Basically it will do a pass, means it will do nothing. You have to write this block, else it will throw some error. So that's why I'm writing a pass here. Else what happens is it will print, sorry, your result is failed. So if that particular student's mark is, or in any of the subject, if that particular mark is less than 32, or if this condition is not satisfied, it will print the result as failed. It's not the average or it's not the total, but individual subjects mark it will calculate. So each and every individual value, or each and individual subject value or marks in subject should be greater than or equal to 32. If that condition satisfies, then it will pass, then it will print the else part here. Else if it fails in one of the subject, it will print, sorry, your result is failed. In else part, basically first is the greeting message, that is congratulations, you are passed, and then it will print basically the score. So I'm calling function sum on the marks. It will basically calculate the sum of marks, and it is basically out of 100. So each subject is of 100 marks, 5 subjects we have 500 marks. So just these two things I am doing the hard coding, rest all we are going to understand. So this discussion is just basically to understand the use of decorators, where and how it is used. So this is the basic structure of just to define a function for calculating the results based upon marks. So now what we do is we'll just go ahead and run this. So for that you can see here on the below, that is run terminal. So this is the name of your file, and from here you can run this, or you can also do Control plus F5 from your keyboard. When I just run this, it is asking enter your marks in 5 subjects. So basically I'll write 60, then I'll write 75, then I'll write 70, then 69, and then 66. 1 2 3 4 5. If I do enter, it will say congratulations, you are passed and your score is this much, that is 340 out of 500. It will do the summation of all these things with the help of this, and it will print this. That is a basic thing. Now I want the functionality, like I want to decorate this, not just the fail or pass. Okay, so let's do one more thing. So I'll just do the fail test case here. So I'll just print 30 and 65 and 63 and 28. He's failing in 2 subjects and then he's getting 60. Sorry, your result is failed. So this particular function works per our requirement, so no issues. Now if it is failed, it's failed. So if it is passed, we want to do some decorations over that. So we want to do two things. First thing is that we want to give distinction to that particular student, and the second thing is we want to calculate the percentage. So for that, basically I'll just go here. So this is my first function, that is DEC stands for decorator, that is just the name of the function that I'm defining, and DIST for distinction, and to this I'm passing the result. So whatever result you get here, so this is a function, so I'm passing this particular function as an input to this particular function. So this function, that is DEC dist, it takes input as a function. So that is a difference, where here it takes some list. This particular function takes list, this particular function takes a function as input. Now inside this I'm basically uh, writing my logic for distinction or for calculation of that. So again, within a function I have another function, so that is basically nested function. And basically if you think distinction and percentage, these things are basically calculated on based on the available marks. So it is basically numeric operations that you do based upon certain relational operations. So inside this, again I'll write a for loop. So I want to check for each marks, so each of the marks will go inside this, and just ignore for the time being this particular line. We just directly move on to here. This is the threshold that is kept by me. You can keep any threshold as you wish. So if in at least one of the marks, if it's greater than equal to 75, or it will basically calculate all of the subjects, and it will check if in any of the subject, if it's greater than or equal to 75, it will print you have got distinction in these many subjects. So this C basically corresponds to here, that it basically calculates the count of subjects, or in how many subjects you have got the marks. So M basically is for the uh, subject value, and it will return the count of that, so that basically gives you. So this is the basic logic for defining the distinction. If this is the case, then it will print the distinction along with the marks. And in else, what happens is, if he has not secured any distinction in the marks which you obtained or which he obtained, it will print the result. So the function call will go here, and this will basically print just these two lines in that case, and here we want to return the distinction. So this is just the distinction that we are returning this particular function. We are not returning this decdist because that is basically a decorator. We'll see how we can use that. So if you want to use this particular function, for that you may want to write something like this, that is @decdist. So this is characterized as a decorator in Python. This is mainly used in web applications for web development, GUI building. We'll come to that later in some time in some other video. So this is how you access that particular function. So you are not calling this function. Basically, this is a function call, but this is how the way you access it. So let's go ahead and run this. So now since I have just enabled this, enter your marks in 5 subjects. I have 50, then I have 65, I have 70, then I have 60, okay, 60, and say I have 69. If I just enter, it just printed this particular line. You have got one distinction. So in 75, it is greater than, not greater than, it is equal to this particular value. And just in one subject, he has got the distinction. And congratulations, you are passed. So it basically ran these two print statements. As simple as that. Okay. Now I want to decorate this result even more. So now what I want to do is I want to print the percentage. So if that student has passed and if he has got or secured some distinction, obviously he should see his result. So for that I'll again define a function in the similar way. So that is a decorator for percentage. It will again take the result. So if you see the return type of these two, that is the input parameter, it basically takes a result. Based upon the result what it is, it will basically calculate it. So if the result is failed, it will never go here. It is as simple as that. And to calculate the percentage, you basically need marks. So that is the same syntax, function within function. This particular thing, it takes function as an input. This particular function takes list as an input. And this is a logic just that is written for basic percentage. That is just a one liner. Sum, I'll calculate the sum of marks divided by 500 because we have 5 subjects and each subject is of 100 marks. And then whatever value we get from this parenthesis, it will be multiplied with 100. So that result you get, and this is just the formatting that I do. Percentage secured is whatever result you obtain here, and that is a percentage. Whether it's in decimals or floating point, you'll basically get the result. And I'll just return the marks. So it will just print all these things. So it is as simple as that. So let's go ahead and run this. Okay, so before that I just want to uncomment this, and it turned out yellow. So I'll just disable this, and I guess I want to comment this out because we are already returning this thing. No, because yeah, we want to run this. Okay, enter your marks. So 56, 60, 70, 75, and 65. You have got one distinction. Percentage secured is 65.2. Congratulations, you are passed. And this is basic, the marks that particular student has obtained. So basically, what is the motive of decorators? in Python programming. So now if you just observe here, I just did one function call that is a mandatory because we want to check. So any student will check for his result. So that is a basic thing. So for that we have to do some request. So this is the request that we are doing. That is a base request. That is result of marks. Based upon the marks, what is my result? It will give you pass or fail. And if it is pass, then it will do more decoration. It will give you distinction. Then how many subjects you can do more creativity over this. You can put more subjects into, and you can put in a table and you can do that thing. Then the percentage, and there are other things, grade point average, how many credits you have obtained. You can do extension on that. So that all things are just secondary. So the main thing is like pass or fail. So for that we basically do this base function call, and these things are optional. So this thing will only run if your result is passed. If the result is failed, it will basically not run. So if you noticed here, we did not do any explicit function call here. So we did not explicitly call this function or distinction function or percentage function here. Instead we are just using the decorator to do that. So that is the main purpose of decorators. So it will basically do the work more efficiently. So that is the basic idea of using decorators in Python. So well, that was all regarding the concept of decorators in Python. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you found you got educated about this video, please do like, share, comment, and if you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing. Thank you very much for watching this video.